will now begin the Grateful Nation Awards. Representing the United States Army, Staff Sergeant Christopher B. Waiters. On April 5, 2007, then Specialist Christopher B. Waiters of Company A, 5th Battalion, 20th Infantry Regiment, distinguished himself by exceptionally valorous conduct in Operation Iraqi Freedom. During a clearance mission, a Bradley fighting vehicle was struck by an improvised explosive device and began to burn with its occupants inside. Specialist Waiters, the company's senior medic, quickly parked his medical evaluation Stryker in a security position and engaged 2 armed enemy personnel. He then dismounted alone from his vehicle and ran 80 meters through fierce small arms fire towards the flaming Bradley. Specialist Waiters then pulled out the driver and the vehicle commander, treated both, and safeguarded the casualties back to his Stryker for further treatment. At this point, Specialist Waiters learned that another soldier was trapped inside the burning Bradley. Without hesitation, he sprinted back and climbed into the troop compartment. While inside, the Bradley's 25mm ammunition began exploding, forcing Specialist Waiters to exit the vehicle. Again, he re-entered the vehicle and found a deceased American soldier. He sprinted back to his Stryker to secure a body bag. Upon his return, another medic has taken charge of the scene, allowing Specialist Waiters to evacuate the 2 casualties in his Stryker. Specialist Waiters' personal courage, uncommon valor, and selfless service directly contributed to the safety and evacuation of 2 wounded and the recovery of 1 fallen soldier. For his actions, Specialist Waiters was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Representing the United States Marine Corps, Corporal Daniel F. Hickey. On August 2, 2008, while serving in Afghanistan as a machine gunner with 1st Platoon, Company G, 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, then Lance Corporal Daniel F. Hickey's mounted patrol was ambushed by medium machine gun fire and rocket-propelled grenades from a large element of enemy fighters occupying elevated positions adjacent to his patrol. After Lance Corporal Hickey's vehicle commander dismounted to employ his grenade launcher, he was struck in the leg by machine gun fire, rendering him immobile. Seeing this, Lance Corporal Hickey immediately dismounted and rushed to recover his wounded leader. While machine gun fire impacted inches from him, Lance Corporal Hickey dragged the Marine to his vehicle and began lifting him inside. Meanwhile, as the squad's machine gunner reloaded his weapon, the enemy poured forth a renewed assault upon Lance Corporal Hickey's position, with 1 round striking the turret gunner's leg through the open hatch of his vehicle. Amidst the renewed enemy onslaught, Lance Corporal Hickey knelt in place, sighted in on an enemy machine gun and rocket team, and engaged, killing several fighters as they prepared to fire on his patrol. Lance Corporal Hickey continued engaging the enemy at 3 separate positions, preventing them from amassing their fire on his vehicle. By his bold leadership, presence of mind, and complete dedication to duty, Lance Corporal Hickey saved the life of his vehicle commander and was instrumental in enabling his squad to fight through a fierce enemy ambush. For his actions, he was awarded the Silver Star Medal. Presented posthumously, representing the United States Navy, Chief Petty Officer Adam L. Brown. Accepting the award is Chief Brown's wife, Mrs. Kelly Brown, and Chief Brown's parents, Janice and Larry Brown. With them is Rear Admiral Edward G. Winters, Commander of Naval Special Warfare Command. As an assault team member for a joint task force action on March 17, 2010, Chief Petty Officer Adam L. Brown was part of a ground assault force that executed a daring direct action mission in Afghanistan against a heavily armed and barricaded senior Taliban commander. Chief Brown's unit successfully navigated through mountainous enemy-controlled terrain to assault the target, eliminating the Taliban leader and numerous enemy fighters during a 2-hour-long firefight. Upon initial clearance, 2 enemy fighters exited the primary target building and engaged the assault force. From his position on a ladder, Chief Brown quickly engaged the 2 enemy fighters, while 2 other enemy fighters were observed moving to a bunkered position using a group of women and children to shield their movement. When the barricaded shooters opened fire on Chief Brown's teammates, he reacted immediately to the threat. Without regard for his own safety, he mounted a wall while under effective enemy fire and maneuvered on the barricaded shooters. Knowingly exposing himself to protect his teammates, he was struck down by a burst of enemy fire, but was not out of the fight. He continued to maneuver until struck down by a second burst. Although Chief Brown could not get up, he maintained communications with his teammates who were moving to his position. Chief Brown's actions provided them essential situational awareness until the moment he slipped into unconsciousness. His heroic bravery during intense combat operations was an inspiration to all who have served with him. Chief Brown is the recipient of the Bronze Star with Combat V and the Purple Heart. Representing the United States Coast Guard, Petty Officer Second Class Brandon Ramos. While serving as a tactical law enforcement boarding officer with Law Enforcement Detachment 406 in the Gulf of Aden, aboard the USS San Jacinto and USS Farragut from February 25, 2010 to July 6, 2010, Petty Officer Brandon Ramos conducted 5 counter-piracy maritime vessel boardings, which resulted in the detention of 50 suspected pirates and the seizure of a large weapons cache. Additionally, Petty Officer Ramos played a central role in rescuing 5 Yemeni fishermen held captive at sea by 13 pirates, and in the detainment and transfer of the pirates to the Yemen government for prosecution. While serving aboard the San Jacinto, Petty Officer Ramos received a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for his actions during a counter-piracy boarding when a fellow boarding team member fell into the water during heavy weather. Petty Officer Ramos, a skilled Coast Guard small boat coxswain with extensive close aboard small boat handling experience, professionally took the small boat controls at a critical moment to carry out a proper rescue of the member who was pulled out of the water and out of harm's way. The command cadre of the San Jacinto specifically requested that Petty Officer Ramos train their coxswains and boat crew members in advanced small boat maneuvering and tactics to conduct pursuits and boardings of suspected pirate vessels. The procedures Petty Officer Ramos developed are still in use today by U.S. forces conducting counter-piracy operations off the coast of Somalia. Petty Officer Ramos has frequently gone above and beyond to share his professional knowledge in maritime boarding operations with other Coast Guard guardsmen, U.S. Navy sailors, and foreign allies taking part in the war on terrorism. Representing the United States Air Force, Staff Sergeant Christopher N. Freeman. Sergeant Freeman could not be with us this evening as he is again deployed in Afghanistan. Accepting the award is his wife, Felicia Freeman, accompanied by Air Force Pararescueman Master Sergeant Rob Disney. While deployed in Afghanistan from May to August of 2009, Staff Sergeant Christopher N. Freeman, a pararescue team leader from the 38th Rescue Squadron, 347th Rescue Group, 23rd Wing, Moody Air Force Base, Georgia, amassed more than 1,200 combat alert hours and accomplished 185 combat missions. During one 4-day operation, Sergeant Freeman led his team on a casualty evacuation mission, infilling under direct enemy fire. Once on the ground, Sergeant Freeman provided quick triage and treatment, dramatically reducing time on target, and saved the lives of 3 American soldiers. On another occasion, Sergeant Freeman responded to an improvised explosive device that had injured 5 Marines. Sergeant Freeman and his team rapidly triaged the multi-blast injuries and saved all 5 Marines' lives. During his deployment, Sergeant Freeman's heroic actions and disregard for his own personal safety led to the treatment of 147 patients and 98 lives saved. Sergeant Freeman is the recipient of the Air Medal with 10 oak leaf clusters and the Air Force Commendation Medal. Nation Award honorees rise and also be acknowledged.